Hello, everybody. I just got like a bit of a random message or like thread that wanted to come through, and it was sort of a nighttime. I don't really like it when there's like lots of shadows created by the light, so I figured we would light some candles. And so I was getting this song on a loop. I Got You. I think it's by the Split Ends. It's like an old song. Anyway, and I just kept hearing like the chorus over and over. So I was trying to look it up. I was like, there must be something important in the lyrics that, like, if I'm supposed to, because I was getting the push to kind of do a message, and so I was like looking up the lyrics, seeing if there's something there that would be helpful or would be like important for the reading. And I wasn't really getting anything except for the fact that I realized I was looking at the wrong lyrics because I thought the name of the song was called Frightened. And so I was actually looking up an entirely different song. And the weird thing about it, so I did obviously find the lyrics for the right song, but the weird thing about it, the album cover for the song that I was looking up the lyrics for when I was looking up the wrong lyrics, the album cover name is Live at the Witch Trials. I was like, this is way too weird. Of all the songs I could like accidentally mix up or anything, it's got to have something to do with like witch trials or some spooky weird stuff. Anyway, so we'll just take that with a grain of salt. But one of the things that actually came out, so the name of the band that had that album title was The Fall. Anyway, and I was kind of looking into, like, I didn't do a great deal of looking into it. Obviously, it's an old album, and I'm not connected with the time in which it came out, and I would probably be distant. So we'll take all of this with a grain of salt. But basically, it seemed like, from what I could gather, the naming of the album title, Live at the Witch Trials, there was like the symbolic, I guess, meaning around some of it was these guys were somehow considered ahead or behind the times in one way or another. And there was something to do with like feeling like being put on trial or being like heavily critiqued or something because of like the style of music that they had. Anyway, and I very much was just getting like, after that it was like being put on trial on a loop kind of thing. Anyway, but going back to the song that I Got You, because the lyrics do say like, sometimes I get frightened. And it definitely seems like a romantic thing. And I feel like there seems to be a person who, I don't know, it's like I kind of see two people, and I have like one person who feels like they can't, like everything they do is put on display or put on trial in some way by this other person. But then, the like whether it's the same person or on the flip side, I feel like it's you. Where we get that, like, sometimes I get frightened. So just we'll go along with it and just flip the energy to what resonates. And if it doesn't resonate, just leave this one. It could end up being quite specific, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, but I don't know, it's pretty crazy. So definitely a lot about, it's almost like feeling like being put on display in public, put on trial in public. And it's like, I think actually, do you know what it is? I think the person who's putting someone, like, granted, both people here could be frightened, but I think it's the person who's putting someone on trial is the person who's actually frightened, and that's why they're doing it, right? Because it's kind of like a pleading, like the guy saying, like, you do this, and I'm not okay with it, and it makes me feel this way. And then he kind of like, lets that vulnerable part out where he says, like, sometimes I get frightened. So I'm not saying this necessarily has to play up to gender roles, but it does definitely seem like, there is someone here. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it definitely could be. It definitely has the potential for that energy to come through in this reading, like to have that type of connection here. But yeah, it's very much a person, I guess, being frightened and putting someone else on trial, kind of based out of their own insecurity. And so, I'm just want to take some tarot cards here and see what we get coming out. Let's go. I've got to say, as much as I like haven't done one of these sort of candlelight readings in a while, the energy is always really good. I feel like fire is really grounding and protective. Okay, but it's also like low sensory. So anyone that has, you know, a bit of a tumultuous relationship with lights and all the things, then this would be the way to go, hey? I feel like I'm sitting down just talking to a friend. So you guys might not necessarily have been in a relationship, but it could have actually just been like a good friendship or something like that. And I'm just seeing a couple cards here that did come out in a reading that I actually did today. So it's like the next pick a card coming out. So I'm going to be posting this video before that pick a card comes out. I can't remember what group, and I feel like if I told you what group, it might take away from like a sort of double confirmation for you or building on your story. But we'll look at what we've got here anyway. So we've got somebody who's waiting for something to happen. Like typically it's like waiting for their ships to come in is kind of what this is, but it's like waiting for an opportunity to kind of seize the moment. And then in that moment, maybe not knowing how to juggle all of what's involved, but just like doing the best that you can, keeping things afloat, right? And I feel like the juggling will potentially get harder over time. It'll be harder to stay balanced over time. Yeah. But there's something here about it's like the responsibility is growing, or the potential is growing, or the opportunity is growing, or something like that. Like something is getting bigger here, okay? Anyway, or closer. If it's not getting bigger, it's getting closer. So it's like the closer that it comes in, the harder it is to make sure that we've got everything ready, because it's like maybe we thought we were really organized and ahead of time, and then, you know, we got so complacent being organized that we've forgotten about something else, or our attention's been turned in a different direction, and then we've realized that we've kind of dropped the ball in a different area. Okay, so I'm just going to take a moment and see if I can get any more sort of channeled stuff come through. Okay, so it's like the person who has a romantic interest in you also has some type of like competitive energy with you, which is really unfortunate energy, but that's what I'm getting. So it's like, I don't know, it doesn't have to be unfortunate. Like the best thing that I can do is not put down a judgment, right? So we're getting a competitive energy in a romantic kind of connection, I guess. It could have the potential for that. Yeah, but it's like someone doesn't want to be vulnerable, and because they're not being vulnerable, it's like you may not want to let them in because they're not like, you know, showing their hand or being open with you or something, or they could be holding on to something from the past as well. It's hard to say. It definitely like gives the insecurity vibe. It's very much like a wild card situation here. What I would say is that this could have been how things were last time you guys were in contact or something like that. Like one person potentially being insecure or holding on to things and not wanting to give their card away. Another person being like very stern, very matter of fact, like, you know, only willing to ignore the cold, hard truth or keeping their boundaries high. Almost like potentially grey rocking, and if it's not grey rocking, it's like needing to act out of a place where we take the emotion out of it so that we can focus on the actual like situation at hand. But it's like there was some sort of wild card variable here. I'm getting it's another person. So there was like another person that was somehow thrown in the mix here. Yeah, I don't feel like this is a third party in terms of like, if this was somehow romantic, I don't feel like this is cheating by any means. I feel like this is like maybe a person getting involved or saying something. It's almost like a gossipy thing, or like getting in someone's ear, or trying to make someone feel bad about themselves. Oh, so it might not have even been someone gossiping about someone behind their back. It could have been a person that you or this other person were talking to, and that they actually were trying to, like, you know, maybe put you down to your face, or I don't know if it's like gaslighting, it's just all convincing you, or maybe they just had such a different view of whatever the situation was. But yeah, it could be a little bit gaslighty. It's hard to say. I don't want to really coin it that if I'm not 100% certain, but there's definitely that potential there. Just be mindful, right? Because you know your situation better than anyone. So we, in a collective reading, you know, these readings on YouTube, you always get like multiple scenarios coming through anyway. Let's get something blue. I don't know if the person wore blue clothes or a blue shirt, or had like blue eyeshadow or blue shoes or a bag or hat. I don't know what that's about. Something about blue. Maybe blue is their favorite color, or they like the song I'm Blue. I don't know what else that could be. It's such a weird message. Someone could have been feeling actually very emotionally blue, like quite down and out or something like that. Or very sad over the situation that happened, which would make a lot of sense. And so it almost does give me like a little bit of a superficial win here, where it was like, however this played out, they may have been on top for a little while, but I think that they were actually deep down quite like disappointed in how it panned out. But they weren't prepared. I feel like this person could have been incredibly stubborn. Yeah, because we have all the fixed signs here. So it could have been very fixed or very rigid or very stubborn in their decision made, and they were not going to change. They're not faltering. They will not be influenced here. And I feel like this potentially could be a little bit of pride, but it's like they're not willing to even acknowledge something, which would make it hard if both people are not, there's not like a reciprocity here. But I do feel there's definitely some sort of coming together or reunion, or like a willingness to try to make up the difference to go the distance. So maybe it just was a case that it hadn't happened to date as of yet, but it's something that will be coming in. And that kind of lines up with that pick a card that I'll be putting out after this as well. Yeah. Yeah, it's very much an offer here for you. And the thing is that I feel like you might be good. Like you might not really need anything or want anything. Like I feel like you probably have everything that you do need and want anyway. And you're pretty taken care of. I feel like you've got it pretty sweet for this moment in time. And what I would say is, if you feel like you're not really doing well, this could just be like independence, or it could just be how this person views you kind of superficially or cosmetically or something. Cosmetically, there you go, that's different. Because I was going to say like, well, it could be cosmetic, right? Like on the surface. You could just dress well or something like that. And so that's like a way that this person is, it seems to stand out for this person. And I do get like romantic interest here. The thing is that even like, yeah, it seems romantic. I'm just going to grab some more cards. Here we go. Yeah, we have the Empress. So I don't know whether you or this person could be like a mother, or you could share children together. And if there is no children in the picture here, I want to say it would be my viewer, that you're in this Empress energy where it's like you're really beautiful and well-rounded, and I don't know, it's like you're in a good energy, like it's that divine feminine energy. You're like open to receiving from the universe, and you know your worth, and you're very balanced. It's like so balanced, you know. You can tell sometimes when people have been exposed to a lot of the same type of treatment in their life, because they kind of like swing from one extreme to the other, and just, yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I do feel like you would definitely be this person's wish fulfillment. Okay, so We have Nine of Cups with the wish fulfillment, Ace of Cups. It's like Eight of Pentacles and Seven of Swords. For some of you could just embody something that this person wants, and we did get that competitive sort of comment come through earlier. So it's like a case that this person could see you as actually having it all, and it would be their wish fulfillment to have the same thing as you, and that they do feel like they are worthy. And I think that this person, yeah, like there's definitely that romantic thing here. So even if this is like meant to be a platonic friendship or something, this person, they might like you more than they let on or something like that. They might have got in their feelings a little bit a few times, and maybe at first they didn't realize what was happening, and then when they did, they probably just ignored it. But then it was like, I don't know, I feel like you were working, and while you were working or trying to like, you know, I don't know, it's like whether you're working, I don't know if you were like building some sort of skill set or something. I just get the energy that you were like head down, head down, butt up, focusing on whatever the task was at hand, whatever was in front of you. Like if you had some type of like job to be done, I don't want to say it was a challenge, but you had something you were focusing on that you needed to do, or that was responsibility, and this person was too busy kind of sneaking around behind your back. And this, I'm getting that message about like the intellectual property again for those of you that have kind of had that come through in other readings. So it's like this person could have been like trying to steal business ideas or something like that. And the thing is too, is that I don't know if I could say that they stole it as in like, it's not like they could have, definitely, but I don't feel like they broke into a physical safe that had like, policies and business documents written out that they took. I feel like what it is that they've tried to learn your craft through kind of being close to you, and then they can kind of take that knowledge for themselves. So, but I feel like there was something here where they were doing what they could to kind of, it was just whatever happened, even if they didn't actually steal anything and it has nothing to do with an intellectual property here, they were just trying to get out of something unscathed at the very least. Yeah. Okay. So, this person also could have seen you as a person that was like very happy to just be at home. Like you like your creature comforts, and you're pretty, I don't know, some of you could have had a bit of like a homebody energy or something like that, and you were really comfortable there, and it did suit you, and it like was your environment. And I don't know, it's like it was still a wish fulfillment, but then like what's this deceitful energy? I'm just getting, I don't actually think that this person was directly like lying. Like for some of you it could have been, but I think the energy that I'm getting here now is a bit more like, I'm surprised it didn't come out in a different card, but it's like this person, I feel like they were trying to dodge arguments, or they were trying to dodge, it's like they didn't want to be themselves in some way because they felt like they might not be accepted or it wouldn't work. So it was like they chose to kind of just be sneaky, and it gives me the energy of like nipping and tucking parts of their personality or something like that. But it like ends up being manipulative or fake or something. But I feel like they came across it kind of genuinely. Like when I say that, what I mean is that they probably didn't intend to do that. They probably weren't consciously aware that that's what they were doing. But little do you know, all of a sudden they find themselves doing that. And then it's like really, an awkward, precarious position where they kind of have to like, I feel like they're just scrambling to try to like get to a better position, to get somewhere different or something. I don't know. I'm not really sure what this is. But yeah. Okay. So the biggest thing that I just want to like go back to before we kind of end the video here, because I'm not really getting too much new information, it was just the importance of feeling like you've been put on trial in some way, or this person, I guess. I do feel like this is a person who is feeling insecure or frightened of the potential of this connection. And potentially you could be like an intimidating person. Like, you might not actually be intimidating, but to this person, they could perceive you as being intimidating because you could just have your stuff together. Like, you could be quite intelligent or quick-witted or something. You could speak really well. If you speak really well, that in itself could actually put this person kind of on the back foot somehow. I think that they just weren't really expecting it, but you also could have like a bit of a strong stance on certain things, like strong opinions on certain topics, or you might just hold the truth with such high regard that this person's like scared that just by, accidentally saying the wrong word or, explaining the story later at a different time, remembering a different part of the story that they forgot the first time they were telling you about it, that they might be perceived for lying when they're not trying to lie. So things like that, like, that definitely gives me like a little bit of being unsure how to kind of navigate that situation and just kind of hoping for the best in general. But I feel like they're hoping overall that if you could see their like genuine love for you, or the genuine willing to commit over the long term, that would be enough for you to actually want to break this like independence or separation that you have from them. But the thing is, I can tell they feel intimidated or they're not sure. I think the thing is that they're going to come in with an offer anyway. Yeah. And so for some of you, if this hasn't happened already, this could be something that like is kind of around the corner or coming up for you, but just take what resonates here and don't try to make anything fit that doesn't. Okay, is there anything else here? I think that this person gets overwhelmed by your beauty or by your looks or by your charm or the chemistry or how graceful you are or something like that, how attractive they find you, right? Because to them, you really are the wish fulfillment. And I think you do open their heart up to the potential of a genuine connection. And yeah, I feel like they would just get to work on trying to make that happen. And, the Seven of Swords doesn't always have to be deceptive. Sometimes it can just be a strategy. So they could actually just be working out different ways to kind of get closer to you, which, I mean, it can still come off manipulative, but I don't feel like they have ill intent. But, anytime a person is manipulative, we should always be wary of it. Always use or exercise your own discernment. But, I feel like they're not like a bad person in general. They're trying to be smart about the way that they approach you, okay? Anyway, so hopefully this is helpful to you guys, and I'll see you all in another reading. Take care.